Welcome to this second segment of True Human Rights. In the last segment, we developed natural rights, which, as a reminder, are the following. Every person owns himself, herself, body, and mind. Every person owns what he or she has created in every situation. Everyone has an equal claim on what nature or God has provided. Animals can be kept by a person with the concurrence of the community. This can also be stated that animals can be kept by a person through an arrangement with the community whereby the person takes responsibility for the animals, because we can safely assume that every community is going to make that requirement on the holder of animals. These rights imply subsidiary rights that are more specific and therefore more enforceable. The first is the right to personal security that follows from self-ownership. Think of something valuable that you own, like your car or truck. You probably believe that no one may use, misuse, deface, or alter your vehicle without your permission. It is like that with your person. No one may take control of another or assault him or her in any way. That is what this right means, security of one's person. Another right that results from self-ownership of one's mind is the freedom to choose what package of beliefs to embrace, whether in religion, social theories, philosophy, political programs, or the like. Every person has this right, even within a family or a school, or any involuntary association. Therefore, no one may coerce, pressure, or force someone to follow his choice of beliefs or keep him or her in a group that he or she wants to leave. Another implication of self-ownership is that a person may pick his or her associates, choosing some but not others. You may pick your friends, choose which groups you will join, and decide who you would prefer not to engage. Sometimes, in a collective, these rights are not recognized, in which case the collective is transgressing true human rights. You remember the natural right of ownership over what one creates. This right, as the others, is absolute. That means it applies whether you create something for yourself or for someone else. Consider this case. A person erects a fence for someone under an agreement with him. Until he gets paid and ownership transferred to the property owner, the ownership is with the contractor. If payment is not made, the contractor has the right to take the fence down because he owns it. Suppose the materials were supplied by the property owner. The contractor must leave them at the site. Conversely, if the contractor supplied the materials, he may take them away with him. Does this right I'm talking about apply on the job? Why not? You own what you create, so the business owner should pay you for the value of what you create on the job. Much more could be said about this, but because of limited time, I must refer you to my article, The Basic Faults with Capitalism. Continuing on with the idea of ownership of what one creates, it is quite practical for a person to trade what she has created for something that another person has created. The medium of money certainly facilitates such transactions. By these means, a person may own things he did not create. In fact, all things man-made have intrinsic ownership that can be transferred. This allows a market in man-made goods. Remember that the right of ownership implies the right to security of whatever is owned. This produces another fundamental right, the right to security of what one owns. Referring back to natural rights, in particular, the equal claim by every person on all that nature provided, and the consequent common ownership of same, the first feature that usually comes to mind is the land. With each person being an equal owner, it is logical that each should be entitled to an equal portion of land measured by value. This is another right among the subsidiary rights, and applies to every man, woman, and child, without exception. The common ownership just mentioned extends further to the wealth underground. What do you think of a business that extracts fuel, minerals, or precious stones from underground, sells it in a market, and keeps the profits? The business thinks the commodity is ownerless when it arrives at the surface, but is it? No, because every person has an equal claim on what lies below ground. The business must buy out this equity before selling the commodity in a market. We have just described another subsidiary right, the right of every person to compensation for the exploitation of natural resources. We are done with developing the subsidiary rights, so let us summarize them. 1. A person has a right to personal security and inviolability. 2. A person has freedom of conscience, allowing him or her to choose from among all given or new hypotheses and constructs concerning religion, political disposition, social theories, philosophy, etc. A person has the right to associate with others and to choose his/her associates. 4. A person owns what he or she has created, whether in service to himself or herself or to others. 5. A person has a right to security of his/her property. 6. Group rights are the aggregate of members' rights, no less and no more. 7. Every person is an equal owner of the natural environment and has a right to enjoy it. 8. Every person of a country has a right to equal compensation for the exploitation of natural resources. 9. Every permanent resident of a country has a right to an equal portion of land measured by value. 10. The community, usually through its government, has the right to take control of animals kept by a person when that person defaults in his responsibility to control or take care of the animals. This list of natural rights and their subsidiary rights completes the list of fundamental rights that every person in the world has. Their definition provides a basis for unequivocal rules to guide the interaction of people in any situation. If embraced by all the people of the world, they can have a similar regulating effect as the rules of the road did in regulating human behavior when behind the wheel of a vehicle on a public road. Think about it and then come back for the next segment when we will compare the fundamental rights developed here with the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights that was passed by the General Assembly in 1948. See you then.